The Marching Roundtable is proud to be an official media partner of Drum Corps International.
Thanks for coming to the Marching Roundtable YouTube channel, sharing great information to help you succeed in all the marching arts. While you're here, we hope you'll subscribe.
You know, we based the scenery on Ed Mel paintings. If you're familiar with Ed Mel, there are probably some people out there. He does a lot of Western vistas and things like that throughout his paintings, and they are just striking paintings. They're just beautiful. I would call the field, if you look at it, more like a diorama, you know, like you had to do in middle school. You had to make the
Yeah.
It's more like that, but it looks amazing and it is massive. When you look at our field setup, there is stuff everywhere to look at, and it looks like you are looking into the West. We are doing run and gun drill. We've got the visual staff from the cadets has come over. Josh Brennis is our visual caption ed, and he brought a lot of his team from the cadets over. They're moving great. There's parts of the show, like we're over 200 beats a minute in several parts of the show, and it is straight up run and gun drill.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. We are talking drum corps today, specifically the troopers. Tim Snyder's with us. Tim, how are you?
I'm great, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, jumping in, where are you right now? Where are you calling in from?
I am calling in from my motorhome at the Trooper Spring Training in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Well, that's what I figured. So you're in the middle of all of it. So you're so nice to stop and talk to us. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us on. You know, this morning was a lot of fun. We're putting our props together, and it's been a whirlwind. We're learning how to get on and off the field, and it's just been nonstop today.
Well, we're recording this on Wednesday, June 25th. So when is your first performance coming up?
Friday. We'll do our preview show Friday here at Fort Collins High School, and then our first competitive show is Saturday.
So we are at the finale of the whole spring training. How is spring training been going? How's it going?
It's great. The facilities have been great. The facilities that have had us, the people that are letting us stay here are fantastic. The administration's worked really hard to put us in some great spots, and you know, I can't say enough about how great these places are. It is really nice.
And how's the Corps doing? You feeling good about things?
No, because we're literally right here at the end. No, the core is great, but you know, I'm feeling it a little bit because we're right here at the end and we've got so many things to do. You know, last minute adjustments to costumes, last minute adjustments to brass books and props, and how do we push all these things on? How do we do this? I don't know. Let's do it and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe some of those of us that have been there maybe can imagine what it's like the last few days before the rubber hits the road, literally, and it's so exciting. So again, I'm really appreciative that you stopped. So I think everybody's excited about the troopers. You guys, man, Tim, like you have been the poster child of getting everybody engaged and excited about your shows. You guys announced really early the theme of the show, which I think everybody's been like leaning in. Like, what is your thinking about doing that?
We wanted to be different. You know, the whole activity swung one direction. You know, they hold I don't know why they hold on to their information. But we decided, hey, let's just be open about what we're doing and see where that takes us. And we feel like it's going pretty well. It kind of started as a joke last summer. Why don't we just announce right after finals? And then we started going back and forth, and we said, well, we know what we're doing. We know what the show is. We don't know what the music is yet, but we know the direction. Why don't we just announce it? And then Mike Goff and myself just sat down and said, you know what? Let's do it. And we announced it to the kids literally at the banquet on Sunday. We said, hey, by the way, in a couple hours, we're going to announce the show. And all the kids are looking at me like, no way, not going to happen. And the show poster popped up on behind me, like this Mickey Sorcerer picture. It just popped up behind me, and the kids went crazy. We're like, okay, it makes sense. Let's put it out. So we
Well,
did. It blew up the internet, I think.
Well, I mean, exactly. And this is my point. It's sort of like you have been doing a lot of things differently, and it all seems to be working. And like everybody's talking about it, and everybody's been excited about it. The final sunset, I'm like, I cannot wait to see what that means. What is that going to be? But I think it's great. You've done a great job over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years of just excitement about the troopers.
Well,
And
thank
so
you.
we're all excited to see. So what can you tell me about what we're going to be seeing? Like what I know we're recording this before your first performance, but it will be released after. So hopefully you feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's our first, but our the final sunset is really a culmination of everything you've seen. The storylines, while it's easy to put them together, it not wasn't necessarily planned exactly to be a trilogy. Everything does have a connection point, and when we first started putting all these together, the idea was, what do the troopers look like in different parts of this universe? And we approached it from a Marvel type of idea. All the Marvel movies, there's they're all the same thing, but they're in a different spot in the universe. So that's kind of how we approach this idea. So when we started with Voracious in 22, what's it look like if the trooper drills oil? What's it look like, if the trooper has to battle finding the sun or fighting that? And in reality, the overarching ideas are more broad than that. And they're, Dance with the Devil is about our own inner demons and how do we fight those things and how do we get past that. So, and if you take all of those things, the voracious, being greedy, and then How the West Was Won stuff, Lasso the Sun, that is about how do we find something bigger than ourselves. And then the next one, Dance with the Devil, how do you get past this inner demon that you have to fight every day to move on? And then to this show, we've seen our trooper for 4 years do all these crazy amazing things. And what does it look like when he gets old? And what does it look like when he can't do what he used to do? And so we took that tone as what is that at the end of someone's life, where you're sharp as a tack mentally, but physically you just can't do what you used to do. I experience that every day in my job. I can't lift the things that I used to lift, and I can't run as fast as I used to. This past summer, or this past year, my son and we were running on a sidewalk, and he beat me, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's faster than me now. And it's you don't think about those things, but when you start to put it all together, we all are going that direction. And what does that look like? And so that's where this comes from, and it all ties together because the trooper is through the through line. It's not the story, it's the trooper, that we've seen battle the devil, capture the sun, dig the oil. The list goes on of things that our trooper has done. So that's where this is.
Well, and
So
I've
there you
no,
go.
it's good. I can't. I mean, you've already piqued my interest. I mean, we're all excited to see the show and to see what you've come up with. I love your reference to the Marvel thing because I feel like, when you think of classic drum corps, they're like these iconic corps with this look and it's like I can see how you could line that up with like the set of the Marvel characters. That's such an interesting illusion. And one of them certainly is you tell me you're wearing the hat. Okay,
We are. We are.
okay. This is very important to me. So that's my first question, everybody. You're in the hat because that's what makes I mean, that's really the most iconic part of it to me.
Yeah, we made a and have made a concerted effort to look like the troopers. Now, we don't wear the traditional Civil War military costume, that they wore for years and years. And those look great. Those look fantastic. But when you see us, you're looking at the troopers. And that's
Right.
what we wanted. And it probably centers around the hat, but there's other parts of that too. There's a demeanor about how all of it is fit together. This year, we're lucky we hired Molly Favret, to really take us to the next level, from a design aesthetic. And I have done a lot of it in the past, and we're getting to the point where we need someone really professional. I'm just a brass guy. So, we needed Molly to come in and really set us up right. And she's done a fantastic job. And Ensemble Innovations has done a fantastic job of putting together a great costume for us. And I think people are going to really love it. And I'm excited for them to see that.
So the look of what they're wearing and the graphics and everything is very professionally thought out. And I mean, I think you've done pretty okay there, Tim, because we've all loved the shows. But I love that you're mentioning that. So that's one of the things we can look for was what are those colors and graphics and what are the imagery that we're going to be seeing?
Yeah, I can tell you that, we based the scenery on Ed Mel paintings. If you're familiar with Ed Mel, there are probably some people out there. He does a lot of Western vistas and things like that throughout his paintings, and they are just striking paintings. They're just beautiful. And he does a lot of angular, you look at the at a horizon, it's very angular and deep blues and deep reds and sandstone colors and things like that. So we started there with the aesthetic, and then my propensity to have really large props um, really made the kids upset sometimes because they were very heavy and all that kind of stuff. So the design team sat down and we worked really hard to create a field set that maintain the ideas and the identity of things that I like to do, which is big, monstrous things, and create a fieldscape that had that same feel, but we didn't have to use the props all the time. So we're gaining a lot of rehearsal time back because we aren't even really getting the props off the field. They're just set pieces. So I would call the field, if you look at it, more like a diorama, like you had to do in middle school. You had to make the diagram.
Yeah.
It's more like that, but it looks amazing and it is massive. When you look at our field setup, there is stuff everywhere to look at, and it looks like you are looking into the West, and that's what we wanted. So that's how we created the field, and there's mountains and there's fences, and the oil barrels make a return, so they're coming back. There's just a lot of things that are really incredible.
It seems like a really smart solution. Like, you want to create this environment that everything happens in, but having a lot of props that you have to maneuver and move and like that's very demanding on all kinds of levels, you
Yeah,
know.
it wasn't just the moving on the field. I don't think the kids really minded about that. It was the getting it on and off the truck, and it
Right.
takes such a long time. I think last year we were at 3 hour EPLs and 3 hour load ins, and we were
Wow.
losing 6 hours a day to just maneuvering equipment. And I knew we had to adjust that. It just it for the kids' sanity, we couldn't do that. I'd much rather let them shower for 3 hours as opposed to move a prop around.
Well, as someone who has done drum corps, yes, like I was always ready for the shower. Yeah. Tim, that's what I always say is like I don't think I could do drum corps anymore because man, I just have to have my shower.
Yeah, there you go.
But you're smart. You said you're sitting there in your mobile home that you're like home away from home. So you figured that out. Good for you.
Yeah, yeah. I lose it though in a couple days when we go on the road.
Oh, well, that seems a very smart solution for that too. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay, so you mentioned sort of in before we started, like that sun iconic sun prop that you've used, is it making an appearance?
I would love to be coy and act like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's not. It's not ever coming back.
It's had
Sunny
its day.
It's sad to say Sunny does not work anymore, and we're part of it is it doesn't really fit in this show. But the
Sure.
other part is if we did bring it back, I don't think it'd make it. I mean, it's an awesome prop and it's amazing. Everybody loved it, and the black version of it last year was incredible. But at the end of the day, it would just break down on us. It cause us more trouble than we need.
It's had its moment. All right, I totally get that. And that's kind of what I expected you to say. Like, have you found a home for it?
The core hall right now is
Okay, all right, so it's still part of that. Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping somebody comes in. We've had a couple offers on it. The problem is it's so big. At its full height, I think it's 27 feet. So there's no BOA bands that can use it, and even then it wouldn't work. And it's just a set piece. Derek a few years ago, the oil tower, it ended up in an alumni's yard. And I think they sunbathe on it. So we're hoping somebody wants to put it in their yard at some point.
Well, I have to tell you that like there's a whole collection of famous DCI props that I would just love to have in my backyard, like turn it into a planter or a picnic area or something, but I've never been able to manage how to figure that out.
Send,
So,
send a semi. We'll give it to you.
oh gosh. That's so funny. I could see turning that into something. Okay, all right. We're off the subject, everybody. Sorry. So how do you feel like the is the core on the level that you're expecting, even though with all the stresses of putting the show together? I know we're going to expect another great Trooper Corps this year.
Yeah, I think we're in a great shape. I think when you see us, I think that people are going to be surprised. The show is extremely demanding, both visually and musically. I feel very strongly that I have written a brass book that will take us an entire summer to clean. And we're already trying to make adjustments to where it comes across cleaner than it is, and we're digging into that part of it. Andy Ebert wrote the drill, and it is drill. It is not a whole lot of staging. There's some staging because I think there's some compulsory aspects to that in drum corps nowadays. But we are doing run and gun drill. We've got the visual staff from the cadets has come over. Josh Brennis is our visual caption ed, and he brought a lot of his team from the cadets over. They're moving great. There's parts of the show like we're over 200 beats a minute in several parts of the show, and it is straight up run and gun drill. And it hasn't, there are very few times you see that in drum corps. There you see it, but we're doing 3.5 minutes of it. So
Oh,
we're going full bore, and it is dirty, but we'll get there. We'll get it clean.
well, right, but you're not doing it for today. You're doing it for the whole season and for the end of the season. And as you know, as somebody that loves my drill, I'm not going to complain that you're going to be doing this. It sounds very, very exciting. And I sort of you're touching on something that I already had the sense of, which is it's sort of like wanting to move forward and end up somewhere. How do I say this? Like there seems to be an intention of really getting down to business and trying to move things forward and competitively and as well as just what you're demanding of the students. Is that sort of what you're describing?
Yeah, we wanted to challenge them. The membership is really great. They're really strong. We also wanted to challenge ourselves and them to see if we could put together a program that would literally do certain things. There are certain parts of the show that we're hoping evokes certain responses and certain deliver certain messages. One of them is 3.5 minutes of run and gun drill. The other one is a beautiful ballad. The Mauler 2 at the end is just straight up a reimagining of the sunburst, and it's really incredible. And we're hoping we evoke certain emotions when you see those things and hear those things, so that we built it emotionally and then tried to do it technically, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Sounds really exciting. So
I
you've
think you're gonna
definitely you've piqued my you've piqued my interest. You've made me want to see the show, which of course is what these conversations are always about. And I love that. Is there anything else you want us to know about the troopers while you and I are talking?
Um, I just want people to come and just experience the thing that I think we are really good at, which is telling a story. And, I'm hoping, we've got plenty of surprises, and you're not gonna see uh totally everything. We're not going to be completely done on Saturday, but all the way through the season, we're going to be continually adding things, and the story's going to evolve. And I hope that people will just enjoy it for what we are trying to do. And we're not, everybody wants to say it's high art and all this. It's just, we want to be Smash Mouth drum corps. We want to be fun. We want to be exciting. We want to do things that, we've never done before, and hopefully push the envelope for where we could be at the end of the season.
Well, it sounds like you've got all the ingredients for that, and a really provocative sort of concept for the end of this sort of four show arc as it seems to be. And I can't wait to see the final sunset. It sounds great. This tableau on the field of this diorama that you're stepping into, I love that idea. I can't wait to see what that looks like. Everybody, let's go on the journey with the Corps, right? Remember that we're not going to see all of it the first time. We're going to support the Corps and keep watching the show develop and grow all throughout the season. And then, wow, I can't wait to see what happens at the end. It's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome.
Tim, thanks for taking time to talk to me, especially in the middle of the craziest last few days before everything launches. I really appreciate it, and good luck to the Corps.
Yeah, thank you, Tim, and thanks for having me.
Of course.
Marching Arts Education is the home of the Marching Roundtable podcast. We give you access to the top marching arts professionals through live webinars, podcasts, videos, interviews, and online coursework. With over 1,000 podcasts and hundreds of webinars and videos, there are hours of great professional development for you and your staff. Imagine what you could do with so many great new ideas from the top professionals in our activity. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and sign up for our newsletter to find out about the latest podcasts, webinars, and new content. Find all of this and sign up at marchingartseducation.com.